What's up everyone, we're back with another Warhammer 3 replay. Today we're going to be coming in with some SKAVEN versus KHORNE. So we're just loading in here, we're getting ready to follow this replay in. It's going to be a great battle. This is a very funny one. This is probably the worst micro I think I've ever had in any Warhammer game. The banners are all the same colour. We didn't really think about that before this battle, so it's a good one. So I'll be coming in with my dreaded Valkyr double foot cultist, which I've said before I love to play on Nurgle and Khorne, the old lord and double foot cultist. But we'll just slow it up here a little bit while we have a look. So we've just gone Marauder spam, expecting the big vermintide. I originally thought, you know what, we'll trade well with all these units into most of their units unless they go quite elite. So we brought in the skull cannon to do a little bit of cycling around the place, run some people over and see if we can't get some easy breaks with that. We're just going to head for all three objectives. We're going to try and push and put pressure on everything and see what we can do. Alright, we'll get me out of the way again and we'll start the battle. So SKAVEN coming in with an absolute vermintide here. So we've got some rat ogres, we've got clan rats with spears, clan rats with shields, spears and shields, sorry. We've got more clan rat swords and shields, got some night runners coming in here, and then we have the dreaded Ikat Claw on his doom wheel just mowing around the field, cutting that turf up. So we're originally going to just try and get some poke in here with Valkyr. We'll see if we can't come in and cause some issues for them nice and early. So with Valkyr on this particular one, I've bought her Gaze and her Demon Shield. I think Demon Shield's one of the best abilities in the game. Just watch her come across in there. So we're slowly pushing up on all points. Probably went a little bit too heavy on objective one. Wasn't really any need to go there. We could have probably turned back around and went towards the center a bit more, but they've sort of done the exact same strategy where they've just pushed middle in their home objective. Big pushes on the home objective with the rats. We're just going to try and get some shots in with our skull cannon there as we come around. So if we have a quick look as the last one, we'll go attack view nice and early, and we'll do one a bit later where we just have a look at what's happening on the battlefield. So we're just posturing up here. Cannons on the left side just poking back and forward. We're about to clash in the center here, so we'll go and have a watch of that. The rat ogres are about to come in and absolutely run into my cultist. So cultist doesn't break the charge at all, and they run straight through my marauders. So no shooting in the middle, which is very good for us. We're going to trade quite well in just a straight melee fight. So, and because of the small gap, the chances of them surrounding us are going to be a little bit less, and we're going to have the ability to flank in from this right hand side. We probably did want some of these right hand units in the center to start, but there's not much we can do about that as the rats drop a massive spell on us, which is very rude in the center. Going to get really good damage into that. A little bit of blobbing over there. So on Ikat Claw, we got quite a bit of magic. We've got the Warp Lightning, we've got the Scorch, which is what just got dropped, a few Storm Demon, a few Ultimate Powers, and then a couple of Brass Orbs as these spells just rain down on the front lines here. So we've got our cultists doing some nice work. The Bloodletter Sworn is just elite in this game. They've got they've got Frenzy, so they're going to go good. They're immune to Psychology, so the route's going to be harder, which is quite nice. So now we're just going to filter some units down to try and get in. We've spawned some dogs in the far side just to try and put some pressure on, but obviously they've been caught. They'll trade okay, but not the best. We've got our skull cannon in there doing some work, and we're just trying to cover our flanks now. Ikat Claw has been taking a little bit of a beating for Valkyr, so he's going to have to try and start and bob and weave in the middle of that field to see what he can do as another spell comes down on the front lines. Just wrecking these Khorne marauders. 15-20 kills there. Lots of health damage. The quality of the rats is where they're going to struggle a little bit in a fight like this. Without your shooters and your weapons teams and your artillery, it can be hard, but at the same time to Khorne, Nurgle, anyone with Furies, Coast, Counts, anyone with those Bat Fury spams can just really shut down artillery and shooters quite easily, and it's very tough. You have to have so many units defending them to effectively stop it, as we get a big rat ogre spawn in, and from my side we've got some Minotaurs with great weapons. So the Minotaurs with great weapons will trade very well. We've got another big spell coming down in the center here. Nothing on either side objective. We're still trying to put pressure on here, so nothing so far on our home objective. As the Minotaurs come in, we've got some units routing off. So this center's getting a little bit thin, but we're trading okay in the one-on-ones. We're about to lose to these clan rats. The attrition can be a bit tough. These Marauders of KHORNE with dual weapons that have bonus versus infantry are very, very nice. And then the normal Marauders of KHORNE have more armor than the base variant of all the others, just because KHORNE loves big metal armor. We have a couple of dogs coming in the backfield, hopefully coming around the side to help out. We've got some Marauder Horsemen coming in to help get some tosses in here and there. We have our Fleshhounds of KHORNE coming around either flank, and we're going to start pushing everything back up to the front lines as the rats send more and more in. They've got quite a bit of shooters. We get the rats around to slow up these shooters on the point 3 there, and we have the hounds just nibbling away in the backfield. The Fleshhounds of KHORNE are amazing unit. They're just so good. They trade so well into so many different things. They have magic resist, so they're not going to get hit with spells as hard. They have the physical resist as demons do. So this middle fight is a little bit scrappy. The ogres have broke through our front line. We're constantly getting dropped spells on over and over again. Massive blob fight here. Not much we can do about it. The units are half and half as we bring in our top guard unit. So this could be a little bit dangerous pulling off, but at the moment he's mainly just brought infantry in. So the speed at which they'll get there is not something we're super worried about. We just need to get units back on this middle point and try and take it back and get a little bit of control here. We need to get some mass on point. We've just sacrificed the horsemen just so that they can hold back this tide of rats so we can get something happening in the way of a defense in this center. Our Fleshhounds of KHORNE in the backfield are chewing up those night runners back and forward. We've got some Furies coming in to help out as well. So our motorcycle's doing very well. He's just cruising around, getting a bit of value. Not much gold value, but he's killing a lot of units, so he's holding these units up constantly. Valkyrie is just absolutely running around in the center. 1,000 value already, only 6 kills, so a lot of that value is obviously on Ikit. She's going to fight some rat ogres now to try and get them off the point. We've got a lot of rallying happening. We need to get them back on the point as quick as we can so that we can try and get some capture weight on there, as that rat still very much hold the capture rate. A lot of units not being microed, which is sort of where it starts. With all these banners looking the same, it can be very confusing of who's who and what needs to be microed and what doesn't. So quite often I would come over this side to micro and realise I only had maybe 1 or 2 units over here at most that had just been going for a flank. Fury's doing well. Fleshhound's doing really well there. Those Fleshhounds of KHORNE, 850 value, 209 kills. Eating rats for dinner. They're not going to need anything later, that's for sure. So now we're just trying to... We've got quite a mass rout on the rats in the centre here. A lot of their units are damaged, so with Valkyrie just cutting through people down here and sending them back into their burrows, we should be able to keep going. She's going to go after Ikit Claw now to see if she can remove him from the field. Rats are going to rally here. More spells going down. We misses us. We managed to get away from that one quite nicely, which is one of our only major healthy units in the centre still, so we needed that to survive. We've got some more things that we really should be unsummoning or bringing back to the battlefield or using them to hunt down. We've got a few Marauder units doing some hunting. We've got some dogs coming back. We've got some mismicroed Marauder horsemen that could be taking out these spears in the back. There's just so many units in retreat and then rallying in the backfields either side that it just became very chaotic. More spawns coming in from the rats, trying to get to more capture weight in the center. We do now have the capture weight, so we've managed to rout enough of the rats off to get the capture weight in the center, but with more reinforcements on the way, that mightn't hold for long. So we really need to start breaking some of these units and really getting rid of them. As another knife spell, breath spell goes down on what units we have left on the point. We really have to consolidate our forces and get this flip here as quick as we can. But the rat ogres now threatening our back point as we move some more units over, and we're going to send these Marauders in here to sacrifice themselves to try and stop these units pushing up for as long as we can. We've got Furies on the side being mismicroed. We've got dogs chasing the rats off the side of the map. We've got the skull cannons still chasing people off the side of the map. We have more Fleshhounds eating rats in the middle. Look at all those flags. Look at all those units around the place. We will pick these units up eventually, but it just takes a bit of time. We've got a cultist who mismicroed in his run off very far off the point, who we really need him back on the point for his summons and for his fighting ability in general. Just being in there, he does quite well. We're starting to clean up some of the backfield, which is good. We're fighting the rat ogres. They do have the capture weight though, so we really need to grab micro of these units and put them back on the point so that we can either help fight or just maintain the capture weight. We've lost the capture weight again in the middle, but we are on the front side of the objective, or their front side, our front side, their back side of the middle objective, as we have some more beaten up units coming just for the capture weight alone. We want to chase Ikit Claw now. We got a nice little hit in. We really want to get him off the field to break the rats. leadership. We've managed to kill these rat ogres, so they were minotaurs on that side point, and they absolutely wrecked those rat ogres, and now they're going to hold that point, and it's going to be very hard for them to remove the minotaurs without a lot of shooting. We have got a few units that have finished routing units off the field that are now being microed back in. We've got some unsummoning happening in the back, which is very good. We have another big spell going down. This unit's struggling. He's got quite a value lead ahead now. Those constant spells and the constant big rat ogres coming in, everything have been enough to grind us down to the point where it's sort of only our characters left. We're in a good way with Valkyr and the 2-foot cultists, but we really need to get some kills. We really need to get rid of Icket and start and get some more weight on these points. We do have quite a nice spawn. We saved up a bit of supplies so we get a mass spawn all at once instead of just one at a time. So we're just going to use our characters to grind away here. Icket's in very big trouble with 791 health left. A couple more good hits from Valkyr, and that's going to be a good night. We've got the dogs chasing people around, the flesh hounds. We need to really start and get them probably over into either help in this section here or go straight into the reinforcing units. We're chasing units everywhere with our hounds on the left flank and also with our furies, and we have the skull cannon coming back after routing a few units off the field. So now we're going to come in with quite a bit of capture weight. 3 units straight on the point, another one coming down. We've got Valkyr chasing Icket Claw away. We have some Marauder Horsemen coming over to take over this back point while the Minotaurs move down in the center to hopefully help out and hold that off. We have quite a good unit in the backfield. The units we have there should beat everything there, so if he doesn't commit something to that, we're going to win that fight and be able to come back and threaten point 3 again. So we decided just to stop on the point here for a second. We've spawned the Bloodletters. We're going to try and get them in to really just finish off these units. It probably wasn't needed. I think this might have been one of the ones where I thought he was getting quite hurt in there and didn't sort of check what was in there with him. And so now we've used the Bloodletter spawn anyway, and we will use them, but probably a little bit early. We should have waited for them to come in and put them behind for a rear charge. Minotaurs are now down. Going back to the back point, I must have decided to change them with the Marauder Horsemen to have a bit of throwing power in the side. We have a very small Marauder of Khorne unit there, just going to try and hold back these 2 Clan Rat units, Death Runner units. We look like we're going to be winning this fight in the backfield, which is very good for us. We can either choose to clean up more or threaten another point. We do now have the double cap, but he's already over at about 1100 points, so we're going to need to look at a triple cap here, which means we are going to decide to come back and threaten point 3 for a triple cap. Rat Ogre's in fighting, just going back and forward. They're now fighting the Bloodletters, which is something I should have put them in. The Bloodletters will trade okay, but not crazy, especially if they're constantly getting charged. There's just so much micro going on, or lack of, that a unit like this was kind of wasted in the end. Valkyr's going to come over and help these Marauders finish them off. We've got the Foot Cultists coming back. They're both under half HP now, so we've got 1 summon still, and they're just going to run around and try and get back on this middle point. So we're looking like we are going to take this point 3. Hopefully we can fend off everything here. We still have other units in the backfield, so Fleshhounds in the backfield, terror routing and just routing people off, just constantly getting those rats stopped from coming back to the center. The Minotaurs are very strong on there. I probably could replace them. It would have been better to bring these Minotaurs down to fight these Rat Ogres and then replace them with something else, perhaps a reinforcement Marauders or something of the sort. Would have been a much better idea. We have won this fight on the side, so now we're going to head up and try and reinforce this point. We're going to hold off as much as we can and just keep reinforcing. In the middle here, we've got Valkyr, who's quite healthy. Our cultists are okay. We've got a nice healthy unit of Marauders there. We've got the Bloodletters still up. Rat Ogres are now just getting chased off by Valkyr at the moment. We've got some Marauder Horsemen just chilling, about to get run over by a vermintide, but we've noticed and pulled them away, so they'll come back towards the point. Minotaurs we're going to put down on the point, and by the looks of it, we have summoned in, yes. So we summoned in some more units on this bottom side. Just another little triple spawn. We saved a bit up. We've got the triple spawn on there, and they're going to come on through that back unit, stopping anything going there. We have got the cap on this left-hand side, so that's point 3 is ours. We've got units in the backfield ready to stop any reinforcements coming in, although they weren't probably mis-microed more than anything, but if anything does come in, the Skull Cannon and the Furies can give it an attack. We do a big push out here and meet the rats before they can get anywhere near the objective, knowing that we've got reinforcements on both sides that can come in behind us or go round behind them. So we're on a big push here at the moment. We've got full control of the forward part of the map. Going very well. KHORNE is such a hard faction if you want to just brawl with them in the melee. Really need to be shooting them and flanking and rear charging. If you're just going to fight their units one-on-one, it's going to be a tough day. So we've got some flesh hounds coming around in the rear. We've got more summons coming in, more reinforcements coming in. We're going to try and stop. We've put the Marauder Horsemen up on the high to throw down. We've got a few units that we need to get unsummoned or at least have them chase off. I've left a cultist on the point, which isn't too bad. He could be in here fighting, but at least if something comes around, he can start fighting them on the point. We've decided to just leave one unit up the top and collapse in, so we've really gone for a full push back into spawn. Really trying to hold them off the point as long as we can. We need this triple cap for the rest of the game, if not at least until we catch up, and then can go for the double cap. So we've got a few units that need to be microed in. We've got the flesh hounds chasing off units in the backfield again. We're going to come down and get into this fight. We've got spawns coming in over and over again. But these flesh hounds, they're just so tough. They're just getting such high value worth. I've got the Furies in there as well. We've got the Minotaurs just chilling at the moment. They'll have a fight with these clan rats now. We've got Valkyrie on the ground chasing people around. We have our cultists going well as chasing other units off. Skull Cannons made it into this fight. And there we come with another huge spawn of what we've saved up. So we're going to spread these guys out and come in with some huge reinforcements. We just went for an absolute tide of troops. And they're going to come in now and reinforce all the points. As you see them starting to spread out and make sure that they can't come anywhere. Looking relatively healthy in the middle. We've got quite a few units on the field. As you can see at the top, we've only got 2 units in reserve at the moment. So we managed to get everything back on the field. So at this point, this late in the game, I don't want to unsummon anything. We just want to be using everything we have to hold them off points and really just hold everyone up as long as we can to keep this triple cap. These rats on the side probably could come down and start and threaten this, but with so much close by, I don't think it really matters. At this point, we would be able to stop them. We've got more flesh hounds doing some cleanup work. We've got the horses up high. We've got Valkyrie chasing some units off. We've got the Marauders chilling on point. We just have a couple of units. We have the Minotaurs, the Dogs, the Furies, or more Furies coming in. Just hold them in the backfield while we pull these units back on the point and get our other units up to the point. So if we look at the, while we have a little lull here, we'll look at the Marauders of KHORNE with dual weapons. Look at those stats. Those stats are insanely buffed at the moment, and they're just 44 weapon strength is great. Melee defense isn't great. 45 melee attack's good, but the bonus first infantry with frenzy is very nice. And then the Marauders themselves, just the axe and board version, have such high armor for a Marauder unit that they just absorb ammo very nicely. They have great melee attack, good melee defense, okay weapon damage, charge bonuses up, and they're doing very well. So if we can get them in range of these cultists, is quite a good thing as well. So these cultists will do the hex around them as well. So you really want to be fighting with your cultists. You're like, I like to have them embedded in units quite often, just to really help out. And that'll be it. The Tide of KHORNE takes this one. Very, very nice. One of our very early games. We'll come back in here. So that was one of the very early games that I played. That was just against my brother, who were both learning the game. So don't judge it too crazily. We were just looking at how bad the micro was more the point of this one for how early it was. This is some of my first multiplayer games. The Skull Cannon did well. Everything did quite well, but it was sort of went for a surround build, probably expecting me to take something a lot smaller, but we traded very well with everything that come in. The hounds were just ridiculous in the end. The Minotaurs did well, everything did well, and in the end it was just a struggle. The Rat Ogres did well on the SKAVEN side, and Ikat Claw got quite decent value, but it was just sort of one of those things. The KHORNE units could outtrade easily the mainline rat units. Yeah, so look, I think that'll be wrapping this one up for this one. Thank you very much for tuning in for another video. Over here on YouTube, if we can get some likes, subscribes, some comments, just anything of the sort, and some follows and subscriptions on Twitch. We go live on Twitch 4 days a week, so you can jump over there and have a look at the schedule. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one.